What is up, budgeting family and friends? My name is Sharia. This is the Sharia Mag channel where I am documenting my six-figure debt-free journey as an entrepreneurial licensed clinical social worker with a virtual private practice, also working part-time. We are a family of 7. There is a combined income of about $115,000. I pay myself as an employee of my business a $70,000 salary, and my husband makes about $50,000, so $120,000 annual salary, with 5 kids, 2 of who are adults, 1 that is in college, 2 that are seniors in high school, and 1 that is in the 5th grade. And I am eliminating debt by budgeting weekly, tracking my expenses, making weekly adjustments based on the patterns of spending that I am noticing, and I do a debt update at the end of every month. Today's video is November budget closeout, monthly budget closeout, and the November debt update will be following shortly. As for now, we will get right into November monthly budget closeout. We go over to the income. The budgeted income for me was $3,651.66. The actual income for myself was $4,566.09. And this is because the first week of October, I received a bi-weekly payment. And then the second week of October, it was the weekly allotment. So that did make my income for the month of November a bit higher. My husband's income was projected or budgeted at $3,098, and the actual was $3,486.27 due to some overtime, some weeks that he worked overtime in November. The rental income is always the same. It's budgeted at $800. We actually received $800. My part-time income was budgeted at $2,238, and the actual was $3,116.53. And I think that's because it actually looked like I got paid 3 times in the month of November, although we do get paid every other Tuesday, so that could have been the case. And then we had an additional income of $949. The budgeted income was $9,787.66, and the actual income was $12,917.89. We go down to savings. Savings was budgeted. My savings, my husband and I have separate savings accounts, and I talk about this in every video. I have a high yield savings account that is not easily accessible for me because that's what I need in my life. My husband's savings account is attached to his checking account, and it ends up being a backup checking account. But we budgeted $200. We budget $200 equally for both of us, but $75 of my part-time income also goes into my high yield savings account. So I end up paying saving $425 for the month of November. My husband budgeted $200, which is $50 weekly, and he saved $200. I have an M1 investment account, and that receives $10 automatically deposited to that account, and $20 went into that account. For Christmas, we had budgeted to save $200, and we actually saved $216.84. My son gets $10 weekly to be $50. I don't know where $50 come from, but it's $10 weekly, and he got the $10 weekly, and so we saved $40 for him last month, and we will be transitioning that over to a 529. If you have a 529 plan that you manage independently, please let me know about that. The only one we have one with our bank, but their interest rates are so low it's not worth it to me. But also, he's only in the 5th grade, and so by the time that compound interest takes effect, it may be worth it. But if you can recommend a really good 529 plan that I can manage independently, or please comment that down in the description box, in the comment section, because that is our goal, is to transition that account to a 529 account for 2024. My daughter gets $200 weekly or monthly, $50 weekly, and she got that. And the budgeted savings for our investment property was $320. and we saved $300. We transitioned over to bills. Bills for the month of November were the mortgage that we now pay weekly in weekly installments of $275.12. And when you add that up for the monthly allotment, it is $1,080. Farm Bureau was budgeted at $133.26, and that's what we paid. Apple Storage was budgeted at $9.99, and that's what we paid. Honda Financial, we also pay in weekly installments now of $250.20. So for the month, we end up paying $1,080. My husband's cell phone bill is budgeted at $58, and that's what we paid. My son's instrument is budgeted at $41.63, and that's what we paid. Planet Fitness is budgeted at $25.05, and we paid $25.05. Our electric bill is budgeted at $330, and my husband paid $340. Netflix is $16.54, and what we actually paid matched that. Our house insurance for our investment property is $98.20. We paid $95.36. Our car insurance for 5 vehicles was budgeted at $453.52, but it went up to $52.11. And my student loan payment is $357.38. That is directly withdrawn. And then I made 2 individual payments surrounding my pay periods, my part-time income pay periods. And so the actual amount we paid was $671.88. My bonus son gets $400 monthly in child support, and our HELOC payment starts December 2nd, or December at $288. But for the month of November, it was $24, and that is what we paid. Okay. We go over to expenses. Expenses for groceries. Groceries was budgeted at $550 for the month, and we spent $651.16, and I think that will increase for December. That is a difference of $101.16. Gas was budgeted at $540, and we spent $420.54, and that is a difference of $119.46. Maybe I will move that into the grocery budget. Facial wax and nails was budgeted at $50. I only do facial wax now. I do my own nails, and this is how my nails are looking for this week. So I'm still very satisfied. And so we budgeted $50, and I spent $40. My boy's hair was budgeted at $100, and we spent $100. Toiletries was budgeted at $200, and we spent $58.73. And the difference should have went on the Sam's Club card. And I think it's just the difference of me I pay bills from my office, and I do the budget, and I left my wallet downstairs and just was lazy, honestly. That's really not an excuse though, because I should have done what I said I was going to do. Toiletries, household was budgeted at $200, and we spent $50, and that was actually a $50 payment on the Sam's Club. Miscellaneous was budgeted at $200, and we spent $670.30, and that is a difference of $470.30, which really would have made a big impact on the debt payments that we were able to make. It would have propelled our where we are with our credit card debt. We gave ourselves $425 for spending money, but we only did that. We only gave ourselves the spending money the first week. I think a lot of that just sat in the account, and it went towards miscellaneous spending. So it may be something that I need to start taking out and actually giving. But for the month of November, he actually got $100. Or spent $100, and I spent $93.40. Fast food had absolutely zero in the budget, and we spent $356.16, which also could have went towards that. That's almost like a whole credit card if you combine the difference in the miscellaneous and the fast food. We move over to debt. Yeah. So we move over to debt, and so the Amazon American Express is sitting at a zero balance. The budgeted minimum payment is $40, and I paid it down to zero, paying $24.98. My husband's Platinum American Express is at a zero balance. My Platinum American Express is at a zero balance. My Ulta card is at a zero balance. My Hilton American Express, my husband's Hilton American Express is at a zero balance. My Hilton American Express is not at a zero balance, but I paid off the charges that I charged in November, which totaled $97.14. My husband's PayPal payment was $41.46, and that's what he paid. My PayPal payment is actually $30, and I made a $799 payment for the month of November. My Citi cards is minimum payment is $50.38, and this is not accruing any interest, but I paid $51.25 because this must have been the payment for October. And I think it's taking 50%, 10%, 1%, maybe 1% of the balance, and making that the monthly payment. So it changes every month. My state employees credit union credit card has a minimum payment of $50, and we paid $1,842.58. My Carnival card or Barclays card has a minimum payment of $46.03, and we paid $46.49. Sam's Club has a minimum payment of $29, and we paid $179. And Capital One has a minimum payment of $25, and we paid $1,477.85. And then lastly, my Delta American Express has a $40 payment, and we paid $670. So the budgeted amount of debt was $541.87 based on the minimum payments, and we actually were able to apply $5,229.75 towards debt. So we go up to the budgeted versus the actual, and you'll see that our income was budgeted at $9,787.66, and the actual was $12,917.89. Savings was budgeted at $1,190, and we actually saved $1,401.84. Bills were budgeted at $4,028.35, and we actually paid $4,418.62. And expenses were budgeted at $2,690, and we actually spent $2,540.29. So I'm glad to see that this is still less than what was budgeted, even though we went over in a lot of categories. And debt was budgeted at $541.87, and we actually paid $5,229.75. Over here, it looks like there was going to be an overage of $1,337.44, but we're actually in the negative. Maybe this is negative. I don't know. I need to see what the... Maybe it's in the red because it's negative, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back to the directions. But in the actual, we are in the negative $672.61. And if you watched week 4's budget, you did see that we were overdrawn by $332. So I think part of that is that, and then I think it's just some income that we did not record, because I don't remember another week where we were overdrawn. And then we go over to the budget breakdown, and again, you know, I love the percents. So savings is at is at 10.3%, and I like the fact that it's at 10%, so that's good. Bills were 32.5% of our income. Expenses were 18.7% of our income, and debt was a whopping 38.5% of our monthly income. So that is it for the monthly budget closeout. I'm happy with the numbers from November. I definitely see where we can make some changes. I recognize that I probably do need to include fast food into our weekly budgets, because I just don't enjoy cooking on Friday and Saturday, and we have to eat. And what ends up happening is, if we don't have leftovers, we spend money on fast food. And then I think we could cut down the miscellaneous spending if we did actually give ourselves the $100 a week to spend as a cash, you know, like $100 bill or 520s, so that we're not swiping the card. Because I do think, while I don't 100% agree with everything Dave Ramsey says, I do think that the cash method is effective in that area. I also recognize that when I took out $140 for grocery shopping, I was more compliant with my budget than when I was going with the credit card. So I do think that that matters. So I'm definitely going to do that. And I think those were really all of the changes. I think just trying to be more aware of what I'm spending and how is also going to be beneficial with our December budget. And I also noticed that for November, I didn't necessarily have a financial goal. Like, I have a target card, but I don't have a goal and I don't make a plan. And I want to do that differently for the month of December. So those were my takeaways, or my budgeting reflections for the month of November. That is it for this week's video, or this month's budget. If you have any constructive criticism, be sure to list it down in the comment section below. And I will catch you guys in my November debt update. Bye for now.